watch and learn. So we are thrilled to have you here with us tonight. And it's a great way to kind of wrap up the week. I know it's only Thursday, but this is such a good conversation to have before we really go into the weekend and kind of close out the week. So we're thrilled to have you with us. And for everybody, we have JoVonne Walker here with us. She's going to be talking about empowered leadership. She is an expert in pursuing your dreams and maximizing your income and who you are. So JoVonne works with executives and entrepreneurs in building engaging content and communication campaigns that generate awareness in conversations. She has developed a passion for ensuring that businesses win more clients with their words in marketing practices. As a speaker, she makes it her goal to present dynamic talks, which we're so excited about, focused on building strategies for success in business and pursuing purpose in both career and entrepreneurship. She shares her inspirational journey to entrepreneurial freedom and advocates for many to create measurable goals, maximize their potential, and pursue their wildest dreams. JoVonne has launched her first inspirational self-help book titled I Did It God's Way. This book is focused on encouraging individuals to get out of their own way and pursue their God-given dreams. Wow, JoVonne, this is so exciting to have you with us here today. I know that we all will learn so much for you. That was quite an introduction. Before we really dive into some questions and some conversations, anything else that you can tell us about yourself?
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm so excited
Yeah.
to share information with everyone. But I am from Cincinnati, Ohio. So I'm a Cincinnatian, if you will, and I've lived in Georgia. And I also went to Penn State University for my undergrad, and went to Ohio University for my master's. So I'm excited just to talk to any level of a college student, because I know what the feeling is to be there and what it's like and how to grow and maneuver and move through that. But I'm definitely dedicated to helping people, definitely dedicated to inspiring and encouraging people, whether it is within their business practice in particular, or it is outside, just to pursue everything that is for you. I'm not one of those people that likes to hold things back, because I don't believe in stagnation. I believe in progression all the time. So that's just a little bit about me, and I'm so excited.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. That's so important. I think so many people, whether they are students or they're business owners themselves, so they're all age ranges, that stagnation part is so hard to get out of. It's so easy to kind of find your comfort zone or almost be frozen in fear. I'm really curious if you can talk about building your own brand confidence, your own just confidence in itself to market your own business and how that has come about.
Yeah, so absolutely. So I started my what was then a side hustle in 2015. I was working for the Kroger company, and while I was working for the Kroger company, I was like, "Hey, let me start something of my own." I had already been volunteering with the church that I was attending at the time, in terms of marketing. And so I'm like, let me do something where I can help other businesses with marketing. I had gained a level of experience, gained a level of knowledge, and really found some level of passion with that. So I was doing content writing, and let me tell you, when I first started in the side hustle, I was really afraid. I was scared. Okay, I was scared because it's a side hustle, and I still have a full time job. I don't want anybody in my full time job knowing I have a side hustle. I don't. Not that I was doing anything that was going to be crazy or anything like that. It's just I didn't want people to know that I was doing it, even though I wanted to do it, right? So I was fearful in terms of what people were going to say about me. I was fearful in terms of, am I really, do I really know what I'm doing? Even though I did know what I was doing, but it was just that whole self-limiting thought of, I'm not really good enough for this. People are not going to take me seriously about this. Where, who am I to think any of those things? And I will tell you that I literally had to just start seeing how well I was doing things. Like, I would look at stuff and I'm like, wow, I did that. Like, it was one of those like constant reminders. And then in terms of that, it's like, got the constant reminder, but then I also was, tired of feeling like I was defeated in terms of like what other people were going to think about me. And, maybe I could grow my brand a little bit more if I talked about it more, and not worried about anything. So I really started to do some affirmations. I am faith-based, so a lot of things that I do, I always take it back to God. And I was, pray often like, God, you're gonna have to help me make it through this. Like you really, because I don't know how to get through it. So I would find myself talking in the mirror often so I could be comfortable talking about it. I would find myself doing affirmations like, I've got this. You are created to make this possible. You have the tools to do what is necessary. You have the answer to the problem. And so constantly doing that, constantly rehearsing that, and that helps me to overcome the fear of like getting out there and talking to people. And then of course that was like a piece of it. And as time progressed in terms of going from creating content and helping businesses with their content, fast forwards like to 2019, I decided to take a leap of faith into full-time entrepreneurship and more so focus on coaching and consulting in the area of content marketing, in the area of building out more of the communication for your business. So with that came another level of growth, right? That came another level of confidence that needed to be had. Now I'm no longer leaning on the money that I was accustomed to from my my once full-time position. This part-time side hustle is now my full-time. So let me get into that. And by me getting into that, that helped me to really, it was like a whole mind transformation type of thing. Like I wouldn't say it the first week, for sure not. But 6 months into it, I was like, okay, it's not going the way I want it to. What has to change? And I had to change like the way in which I thought in terms of my price. So the overall value, because I would undervalue myself sometimes. If somebody said, hey, I need help with this, that, and the third, I'm like, okay, what's your budget? And I would just go based off of the budget as opposed to having a price point. And I realized when you go to Macy's, when you go to Nordstrom's, when you go to Tesla, they're not going to go based off of your budget. The price is the price. So I had to see myself as being worthy of that price. And that was just assessing it, creating a morning ritual where like I focus in on affirmations. I focus in on my life goals. I focus in on my family goals. I focus in on my faith to build up that stamina so that I can have that shift in mind to believe that I can. And it's like that whole belief system. And that's what really has helped me within my business. That's what's helped me in gaining contracts. It's what helped me with building partnerships, because it's not about just, okay, I have an idea, but it's the whole idea of believing in the idea, believing in yourself with the idea, and believing in the future of the idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, how powerful, the power that we have when we're talking to ourselves is so strong. And so I love that you mentioned that, the daily affirmations and talking into the mirror. And, I wonder, when you hear the term or people throw around the terms fake it until you make it,
Mhm.
what's your, how do you feel about that term? Because sometimes people don't like that term. And then sometimes they're like, well, sometimes you really do have to.
Yeah,
So I'm curious your feeling on that.
the feeling more so for me is more so faith it until you make it. So if you're gonna
Ooh.
if you're gonna believe in anything, you have to believe in yourself first. If you don't
Hmm.
believe in yourself, it's gonna be hard for anybody else to follow suit to what you're doing. So you have to
Yeah.
believe in yourself. And when I say faith, I'm not just talking about like from just being a Christian or anything like that. I'm just talking about just believe in yourself. It's just as simple as
Yes.
that. Like, I can do this.
JoVonne, that is so powerful. Yeah.
It is possible for me. I can make this thing happen. If I can make this thing happen, then other people can see that I can make this thing happen, and I can make them a believer. If you think about car salesmen, you go to a car lot often, right? And they know their thing. They believe in what they're doing. They
Hmm.
believe in the product. They believe in the sale. So they're going to navigate in the conversation because they are a believer. They are believers. And some
Yeah.
they say that they're manipulating at times, but the thing is they believe. So even
Hmm.
if it is a manipulative move, they're believing in the power of what they're saying.
Hmm.
So that's the same thing with many of us. We are not in that place where we're believing where we should, where we can go. Um,
Hmm.
we're not faithing it enough. So it's necessary to faith it until we make it. And then once we make it, we're like, hey, and it's still going to be another level of faithing it, because
Hmm.
we're still not, for some reason, some of us humans are not really satisfied with the next level that we attain. So we're always going to be like, I need more, I need more, but continue to faith it.
I love that. I'm going to start using that. Thank you so much. I also think, you brought up such a great point about how we value our
Mhm,
own service or what we can provide. And
mhm.
I think it's so natural, especially for entrepreneurs when they're starting, to undervalue their service, partially because they want to make sure, sorry, they want to make sure that they can get some clients and they're, money in is better than nothing.
Right.
And so it's hard to transition into a point where you can say, I am comfortable with asking for what my service is really worth.
Mhm.
Um, can you speak to like that moment when you started realizing, okay, I really need to deliver on, or not deliver, but I'm delivering more than what I'm charging. Was
Yeah.
that kind of like a tipping point moment for you?
That was a frustration point, honestly, because I was underserving so much. I mean, not underserving, undervaluing myself so much, underpricing my service so much that I found myself doing so much work. Like, especially when coaching people, I didn't realize when well, for me anyway, I feel like I'm preaching sometimes. But when I when I'm talking to someone through a coaching session, I realize I exert so much energy with that. It's like I feel where they are. And so I'm meeting them, but I'm talking them through the process of where they can be, right? And so that literally is a lot. And so I'm like, if I'm doing this for an hour, I shouldn't just be charging like $50. Like I'm exhausted. After that, I'm I want to take a nap. Like, so I had to see like, okay, it's the value of it, the result of when after talking to them, what they have like this, they go from like a dull face to a bright lit face. And then on top of that, they are able to attain like really great results within their business. And so I'm like, okay, the results speak for it. I, my time is of essence. This is not just me talking. This is years of knowledge. This is years of experience. And I can't just like be taxed out on time or taxed out on energy without even getting paid for it. What's the value of it thus far? So it was a frustration, like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. Let me, and I really like this, but I don't want to be exhausted and like this when I know I have more things that I could be doing too. So when I got into really telling people what my price was and sticking to it, that's when I started to see like the right people coming through the door. Like, I mean, of course you run into some people like, okay, yeah, this is what the cost is. And they're like, no, I can't do it. But I used to be where if somebody said, no, I can't do it, I'd be like, hold on, wait, I can help you with this. I can, and I'm like, I can't do that because that's taxing.
Absolutely. And kind of stopping apologizing for
Yeah,
your price,
exactly.
I think we talk to a lot of entrepreneurs who are almost they're sorry to charge. And it's like, no, you're delivering this amazing service. You
Right.
should be charging. Um, with some of our comments on Facebook, actually just said the faith it till you make it. They are just loving that. I think that's so powerful and a great reminder for others that everybody, you all are delivering service and don't be apologetic for that.
Yeah.
So talking about your coaching, you
Mhm.
know, how do you go about helping others build their own confidence in marketing their business and everything?
Absolutely. So what I do is I talk to them through like, many of the people that come to me as of late, and it's been like more and more now, but many of the people that come to me, they are like, I want to get my service out there, like to share with people, but I just don't know how. I don't know how to go about doing it. I'm not really that confident in it, honestly. And so what I do is when we start actually working together, we walk through different aspects of the person. I like to look at the behind the scenes of any brand, the behind the scenes of any brand when you're first starting, or if you've been in the business for a few years anyway, is you. So what are you thinking about yourself? I'm talking about your likes, your interests, your dislikes, your goals. What do you where do you see yourself in a few years? Where do you see yourself right now? What do you think you can do better? Type of thing. So I like to walk through a whole assessment with the person because it helps you to assess who you are so that you can brand what you do, right? So I really believe in talking the person through that, talking them through the process of understanding their value, understanding their worth, understanding that how they view themselves is how it can be communicated to the audiences in which they serve. And so we work through that so they can have a better message for themselves and then a better message to present to their audience. So it's through assessments that I provide. And some of the things that which I have them working on is not something that was like a one time, okay, we're just gonna get this done. It's something you have to sit there and marinate on that. You have to, if you're not comfortable in the screen talking in a video, you're gonna have to do some practice. And that's what I'm telling them.
Absolutely. And you touch on something that's so important by having them talk about themselves and really understand even who they are and build their confidence. We always hear that people invest in the person,
Mhm.
not necessarily the product. And I think the approach that you're taking is so important for other entrepreneurs, other startups to understand that it is like the passion comes through, and the more that they can really understand themselves and how you're kind of taking them through that process, that's so important. Does that also play into, and I think what you were starting to talk about with really marinating on things is also goal setting. Can
Mhm.
you go into a little bit about how you coach your clients with goal setting?
Absolutely. So what I do when I coach clients through goal setting is I created like this whole video and this whole goal planning packet, right? So in the planning packet, we talk through your time, about like what is what is income producing activity versus wasted time. Like, so we're looking at the time that you're spending to produce that. So if you're constantly going to email, that's not necessarily income producing. So knowing how to assess what those things are, in particular, knowing how to just make sure that you're not trying to go through a whole laundry list of items. I always tell them, like, look at 5 things first.
Yeah.
Focus on 5 things, especially especially as a full-time entrepreneur. um Oftentimes a lot of little things pop up.
Mm,
We got to make sure we stick to that list, like at least the
yeah,
5 things. If we can get those 5 things done, then we practically have conquered the day, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm not an early riser. So I do tell some of my clients, if they are early risers, but you know, start off at 5 if you have to. But I'm gonna be quite honest. I've had days where I've gotten up at 5:30. I'm like, yes, I've done it. And then I have days where I've gotten up at 8 and I'm still like, yes, I've done it. Because the thing is this, I have set up a schedule for when I do wake up. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on my affirmations. I'm going to, read my Bible. I'm going to pray. I'm going to, or just relax for a second. I'm just going to take in some air.
Yeah.
Then from there, I can do my
Mm,
5 things for the day, whether it's sending out more content, whether it is doing, if I have a meeting, 2 or 3 meetings or what have you, those are the things I'm going to be focusing in on. So I
yeah.
always want them to know like how important it is to look at the 5 things, don't overdo it. And then also look at what's producing you income versus what's not.
Absolutely. How important. I think what you just bring up about the 5 things,
Mhm.
that is such a mindset shift. I think for so many of us who are used to being firefighters, if you will, putting out fires that pop up and kind of that like bam, bam, bam. Oh, I got to go solve this or I got to take care of this. And there's a part of that that is almost intoxicating in a way where you're like, you're staying busy and you're doing so many things, but are you actually moving something forward? Or are you just kind of doing the whack-a-mole, And I think getting out of that cycle is really, really important and really key to truly moving something forward. And I love that you have instilled that in yourself and in your clients. When you think about priorities, it's easy to kind of list out 20 things, but it's actually harder to say, these are my 5 things I'm going to do today They are the things that are going to move us forward. They are the things that are absolutely important. They're my blue chips.
Mhm.
These are the things I'm going to do, and be able to kind of have the confidence to say, everything else I'll get to.
Mhm.
These are the things I have to accomplish today. So I love that. So when somebody does then have a hiccup or a barrier,
Mhm.
something like that, what's your advice on how do you get past that? How do you not let that just totally derail you?
The hiccup or the barrier. Listen, it happens. Like, we experience barriers all the time. I remember in my first year, one of my hiccups was, well, for one, I wasn't getting all the clients that I wanted, right? I wasn't working with the people that I wanted. So that was a big hiccup for me because, of course, I didn't have, if I'm not getting clients, that means my income is not where it needs to be, right?
Mhm.
And so I was like just trying different things to make it happen. And I literally had to like just take a assessment, like, in what am I going to do next? Then at the same time, my grandmother passed away, and on top of that, I'm like, I'm glad that I'm available because I can help with the things that were going on in our house. But at the same time, it's like it's stressful because now I'm grieving that piece of life, but I'm also grieving my income. And so like getting through that was my overall thing of just kind of like not necessarily letting go, but going back to the faith principle, like the belief of you got this, the belief that I know this is going to work for me. So lead me in the right direction of what I'm supposed to be doing, type of thing. I remember when I did do that, like 2 weeks later, an opportunity popped up, and it was like a contract of like 65,000 or what have you. So I was just grateful that I'd like, instead of trying to do so much, just I started, I redirected my focus on more so me, more so of the self-care, because with everything going on, it was necessary, it was needed, it was warranted for the moment that I was in. And once I began to really take care of myself, then more of the opportunities started to come. And so for many people that experience like hiccups in business or hiccups in life, it is take an assessment of where you are. What is it that you've been doing too much of that you feel like, what, that hasn't done anything for me? And then take the opportunity to just kind of enjoy your moments that you're in. Because when you don't enjoy your moments, then you're constantly going to be like, I can't, you're never going to be satisfied. So you're always like, I need this, I need that, but just take a deep breath, breathe, and allow life to take its course in the manner in which you believe that powerful things are going to happen for you.
That's so powerful. And then, I imagine in those moments you can go back to the affirmations and, you know, there's a strong tie to what you put out there,
Yeah.
those positive energy, or the kind of even just talking yourself into a good spot that can really, really impact you.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious, when we talked, and like the title of this is in the empowered leader, and I
Mhm.
love that. And what I love most about that is that a leader can be somebody who is leading a team of 1,000, or it can be a leader leading themselves. And I'm curious, even from your perspective, when you thought of that title, can you tell us a little bit more about where you even, like, how that title came to be?
Okay, so with that, the title came to be um, from just my experience of leadership, right? I working in corporate, having worked in corporate America, learned a lot about leadership. One of the things I did, I was an assistant store manager for some time, and in that time that I was assistant store manager, I realized the difference between a leader, a follower, and a manager, right?
Mm,
So I was, as a manager, I'm like working through stuff, and like my thing was I'm just trying to hit the goals. I'm just trying to hit this. I'm just trying to make this happen. I'm just trying to appease my boss. I'm just trying to appease my supervisor in this. But I really hadn't delved into leadership, and because of that, I noticed that while I was just functioning as a manager, people
mhm.
weren't taking me as serious. that serious, because they only saw that I was doing it because there was a result of what someone else would say,
Yeah.
what
People
other
are smart. They can see through that.
people see right through it. So of course they're not taking my stuff seriously. Like, okay, yeah, okay, JoVonne, all right, I
Mhm.
see. But once I started to like, I would get professional development sessions and things of that nature, I really started to look into, like, okay, leadership is more than that. It's like it's a part of who you are. If you
Mhm.
can embrace that you are a leader, and you can embrace that the way in which you hold yourself, you're holding yourself accountable, and it helps other people to be held accountable too. They see your standard, right?
Mhm.
You're able to raise the standard more than just a follower would, more
Mhm.
than just a general manager would. It's like you're actually functioning in a power, you're functioning in an
Mhm.
authority. And so not to the place where you're like authoritative over other people. It's that you have built up an authority within you that knows that, hey, you have the ability to be a leader. You
Mhm.
are a leader. You can be a leader. And what that means is you can direct other people without pressuring them. You
Mhm.
can talk to people without demeaning them. You can move forward in a conversation that produces results without people feeling afraid to get it done. So
Yeah.
I found myself doing that when I was working in that particular realm, because that helped people to like me more, right? And on top of that, of course, it built the rapport, but it also built a level of standard to produce better results. And because of that, because I like, and I really do love people, because I took that in, and it was like, well, let me reward them for the good things that they're doing, right?
Mhm.
So hey, if you guys are putting up the stuff on the shelf by 6 o'clock in the morning for the night crew, maybe we might have donuts for breakfast. So it's just like rewarding them in the meantime, because people need to be rewarded at any level, like they need to. So that's where I got the whole empowered leader from, because it's like I've had to go through, the downs of trying to be a people pleaser, the downs of trying to just, go for the okey doke in terms of general results, but not really look for how I can produce better for the people that are following me.
Yeah.
And so that just helps me to really feel like I'm conquering something. So that's where that empowerment aspect comes from.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. I'm curious if you could share for everybody who's watching or who will be watching at some point, some of us I think, well, some people are just born natural leaders
Mhm.
and not everybody. And I don't know that I agree with that. And I'm curious, one, if you agree with that. And then also, if for somebody who wants to be an empowered leader,
Mhm.
what may be the one thing that you would say, okay, starting tomorrow, I want you to think about or I want you to do X.
Mhm. Absolutely. So I have this quote, like, I can, I must, I will.
Mm,
That is, to me, like it's really affirmation, right? Like, I
yeah,
can, I must, I will. Whatever this it is that you're trying to accomplish, right? I can become a greater leader. I don't necessarily
yeah,
believe that people are natural born leaders. I think
yeah.
sometimes it does have to be um, crafted, if you will. It has to be um, placed, through professional development sessions and things of that nature,
Mm,
or various experiences and encounters to see, oh, tap into some levels of leadership. So I can be the greater leader. I must be the greater, must work in this pattern. I must do this because this is not just about me. It's for other people that may be following me. And I will, like, I'm going to walk in this. I'm going to take the moment to assess where I am so that I can make this thing happen. And what I mean by that, this is simple as, okay, so I can do this. Anybody can say I can do it. I must do this. That makes it more like, I got it. This is necessary, right? And then I will is, you're literally taking the step to do that. So in as small as, if you're trying to build some level of leadership, you're trying to be a leader. I would say the biggest thing is find a mentor or somebody that you look up to, that you find to be like a really good leader. Like you've seen how they work with other people. You see some of the, whether it's their business results or what have you, ask them if you could have a conversation with them, build that relationship first, right? Have a conversation with them and see how they could help you in making it to your leadership level, like where you want to go in leadership. Talk to them about some of the issues that you're experiencing or what you're trying to accomplish, and see if they would be willing to mentor you in that. So that is like the basis of anything. I believe that everybody needs a coach, everybody needs a mentor. All of those things, because it only helps to shape you to be who you need to be, right? And to be better at what you're trying to accomplish. So that will thing is to go and find somebody to help you.
Oh my gosh, that's so powerful. I feel like I've been saying that the whole time we've been talking, but you're giving our audience and everybody listening just very tangible, like you can do this, value yourself, have faith in yourself,
Mhm.
and then take these steps they're doable. This is not like rocket science, this is something that you can do. And that I can, I must, I will feel so affirmative and just, okay, I can do this. And I think that so many times we have to keep telling ourselves that. Um, how did you find your mentor?
How did I find my mentor? So that's a great question. So I found mentoring at work. Just like, first of all, people would reach out to me, which was, I found that interesting. Like not necessarily as a mentor, but to eventually be my mentor.
I
So
love
it
it.
something in me. It's like she looks like either she needs a mentor. I must have looked like I needed some help. But I always did want to go to a next level. So that was cool to always talk to people that were at a level that I wanted to be. So would find myself just reaching out, talking to them, having lunch, learning more about them, learning more about like some of their likes and interests and things of that nature that would help me to see like, oh, okay, it's not really that deep. But I can, if they can do it, I can too. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing that can help me a little bit. So that was one aspect. And then of course, also within being that I was really in big in church too, like
Mhm.
I found mentorship within that too, right? Talking
Excellent.
to other leaders within the church to help me,
Mhm.
help me to pray with me and things of that nature
Yeah.
that helps me to grow. Those were ways in which I was able to acquire leaders. And then even like full-time entrepreneurship, like I I went through SCORE for mentorship. So I'm not
Yeah.
SCORE if you're aware of them, and it's free mentoring, especially for
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. And I went through them to get mentored. I had an awesome mentor. That
That's
really,
great.
I would meet with him once a month, and we would talk through, what are you trying to accomplish? Oh, what do you like to do, by the way? Just
Yeah.
conversation. And that helps me to think bigger as well. Like that helped with that whole mindset shift.
Hmm.
Big time.
That's great. I think too, folks who are in need of mentorship sometimes worry that um, asking a mentor might be putting a burden on them or something like that. And I think what I'm hearing from you and from other experiences, and just for everybody listening, it's an honor to mentor somebody. And it, you know, it's you're providing a gift to like kind of up and down. There's value in both, and that's something that through our center we have amazing entrepreneurial experts who just they are so willing to provide mentorship and share what they've learned. And I think overall in the entrepreneurial world, that is a theme that I constantly see, that entrepreneurs want to help other entrepreneurs and they're willing to share their struggles, how they've overcome them, and kind of advice and things that they've picked up along the way. That's a really powerful community to be a part of. And I love that you're so willing to share your experiences and share how you've gone from undervaluing yourself and kind of being that, I'm going to do this on the side, to this is my gig and I'm good at this and I bring a lot of value. It's really powerful to hear your journey and to be able to share that with others. So thank you for that. I think we can, just looking at our time here, we can open up to any questions from our guests, and I'll take a look over at our Facebook Live as well. But any other, just as we're kind of letting folks think of any types of questions, anything else that you wanted to share with our guests today, JoVonne?
I think the biggest thing that one of the things I always like to talk about this is, you mentioned hiccups earlier, and I like to give the analogy of I-75 in Cincinnati, Ohio. They're always working on the highway, potholes everywhere. In various lanes, there's going to be a pothole or what have you. And sometimes we may experience some level of pothole in our life. Sometimes we may experience a level of pothole in our business or family or whatever. And the biggest thing is not to get stuck in the pothole. Still have to. We still have to keep going. We still have to keep the momentum. Okay, maybe we slow down a little bit because the pothole was there. We didn't know. We got to it, but it's one thing to stay stuck in it, but it's another thing to always move forward. And so in moving forward, that includes, yes, there was the hiccup where your finances you didn't hit that monthly goal. Okay. You didn't hit that monthly goal, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to make it the next month. Right.
Yeah.
You can't be down on yourself in a depressed mode. Like, I'm just not doing this. It's not working for me. You've got to still look at well, if it didn't work for me, let me assess what it was that didn't work. Was I not marketing my business? Was I not reaching out to collaborators for better and bigger opportunities? How am I positioning myself? Am I just waiting for everything to happen for me? So those are things that we have to look at, because of course the hiccup could come, and that could be an example of the hiccup, but at the same time, we still got to be on the assessment route in terms of like, okay, all right, now I see this pothole. How am I going to get around this one? Everybody's slowing down. So it's a reason why they're slowing down now. Maybe I need to get over into the other lane so that I don't get stuck here. And getting stuck here means getting stuck in the woes of it didn't work for me. But getting into the other lane means that I am going to position my message better, or I'm going to actually start talking to other businesses that may need my service, or how we can exchange in service to work together for something bigger.
Yeah, constantly learning, constantly, thinking about learning from those potholes, being able to now start to see the signs, and then not getting stuck. I think those are such great tangible tools to help moving forward. Those are so great. It makes me think of there's an old saying about, coffee beans, when they're put in hot water, so it's a challenging time, they come out tasting amazing. And so we have to think about that. Sometimes those hard times are the same with diamonds. Diamonds are made from pressure. And so those are the moments that can really produce the diamonds. And we all have to, after hearing you, I feel so energized that we all have the power to be those diamonds. We just have to have faith in that. So thank you so much. So I do want to see if anybody does have any questions, and if not, we'll let everybody. We'll thank JoVonne. We will share. I see Lee. Go for it, Lee.
Yes. Hi. Thank you, JoVonne. This was an excellent presentation. I felt like I learned so much, and I do have my baby here, so she might make a couple coos. But I was just wondering, you talked about confidence and really valuing yourself when it comes to like getting new clients, and you said you found the right clients. Was there a technique that you felt like worked best for like getting yourself out there and attracting those clients?
Absolutely. Yeah. So there definitely is a technique in terms of getting those clients. It's all in how you show up, right? So the confidence, of course, is one of the things, but if you're telling people what to expect before they even decide to schedule a meeting with you, that helps entirely. If you tell them that you provide a premium service and they get this, that, and the third, or you get offering a lot of value in your posting on social or in your email campaigns or in your text campaigns about various things that are answers to their problem, then that's what helps you to attract and build that ultimate funnel for the right people to be coming to your table or speaking to you via virtual scheduling session. So that's definitely how I've been able to kind of change up my messaging to generate those types of clients that I would like to work with, as opposed to just like, hey, I got this going on. Anybody, come on, everybody, let's work through it. So I make it more specific. I speak directly to that individual. And when I talk about this in particular, I'm talking about women who are in the coaching space, who are trying to build their content, but they're really not sure where to go. So I talk directly to that woman. Hey, I know you're stressed about what post to make today. Here's 5 things you can think of, right? I talk to them like, hey, you're trying to build your coaching program. You know, these are ways in which you can do it. So I make my message very clear. And then I also talk about, if you were going to schedule some time with me, this is what you need to know about working with me. That helps them to understand where they can navigate, and if they really want to come to talk to me, it kind of weeds out the people that you need to work with.
That's great. Thank you.
No problem.
That is so good. I think, a lot of other corporations, especially retail corporations, will think about who is our customer, and they almost create the model of who it is, so they might even name it. And it almost sounds like you have thought through, okay, my client is this person, and this is what she's thinking about. This is what she's worried about. This is how I'm going to communicate with her. And that sounds like such a tangible thing that you can do to really attract those customers. Because once you kind of have that mindset of who is my ideal customer, now you can really target your messaging. So that's such a great point. Thank you. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, JoVonne, for joining us today. The silver lining, if you will, of everything that we all have been going through with COVID is that we have been able to do more online and virtual events. And I think without that, we might not have been able to connect with you as well from Cincinnati. So it's pretty exciting that, today we're kind of covering the whole state and looking at some of the folks who have been popping on the Facebook page. I think we might even be crossing some borders, which is amazing. I wanted to thank everybody for joining us tonight. The Delaware Entrepreneurial Center is here to help all entrepreneurs at any stage of the process. So it might be somebody who is right at the very, very inkling of an idea. We have folks who are here to help you and coach you through that, and even just talk through, okay, where are we in this process? And then to help even with some of those, you can do this, and you must do this, and you will do this. I'm going to be trademarking that and giving you credit, JoVonne. So thank you. We are right on the college campus of Ohio Wesleyan. And so we also have the advantage of being able to bring in a lot of students. And so for all of you out there watching, if you are starting to build something, or maybe you've even been in your business for years and years, we have students who are able to help intern. They want to learn from you. They also want to pick your brain. And so just as JoVonne was talking about the importance of mentorship, we have students who are looking for mentors. We have community members who want to mentor. And so we can help you connect with all of those different audiences. JoVonne, this has been a pleasure. As I said at the start, it's a fun way to kind of kick off the end of the weekend, if you could say it that way. But I know I'm more energized and I feel more empowered than I did when I started logging on tonight. So thank you for your time. Thank you to everybody for joining us. And we hope to see you again for our next educational program. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, JoVonne. Bye, everybody.